essentially we use 18 AI tools each week. So we have a 360-degree PR and personal branding agency. And today we are going to run you through some of the content creation tools specifically that we are using in our own agency with our own clients, right? So these are actual use cases that I'm going to be showing you. A quick intro about me. I'm Kaushik Bose. I have 2 decades of sales and marketing experience, 14 years in corporates, Wipro, SAP, IBM, GBM in Dubai, primarily B2B sales. Then 2017 came back to India, started the first startup, which was into mobile repairing, turned into mobile franchising. We franchised 14 outlets, then sold the whole business as a whole. And Brainbox started in September 21. We started off with a podcast. It was called Brainbox, the Leadership Podcast, which got voted by Spotify in 2022 as 9th Pan India. So that's how the entire PR company came up along with it. So Brainbox Catalyst is essentially the 360-degree PR and personal branding agency. So that's more of a done for you kind of a service that we give for our clients. And that's actually where Brainbox Gurukul has also come up. So Brainbox Gurukul is basically a do-it-yourself arm. It is the concept that whatever learnings that we have, we should be able to, share it with others, and so that more people can use that as a part of their own skill set. So I have been into tech quite a bit. I have been trading cryptos from 2012 for a very, very long time. So I also was one of the first people who jumped into the AI bandwagon. And I am also a Perplexity fellow, which is in India. It's a special program they're running. So disclaimer here, I will be showing a little more stuff around Perplexity. So, actual thing. And if you got the email yesterday, I hope you guys have also downloaded from the Airtel Thanks app, the free Perplexity Pro license that you already are eligible for. Just before we move into the pure AI piece, I just wanted to decode a bit around the AI landscape itself. So there are 3 major things: GenAI, and just to be clear, this is more like a beginner kind of a session. So it's I'm not going to go too much into high-end AI. We can always take that up further. So the GenAI piece primarily is like think ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. They are the actual engines that are driving the entire AI models, right? Then you have the AI wrapper. So what the AI wrapper basically is, these are tools that add an extra layer on top. So if you're a little technical, you can understand like Chromium is the platform, or Linux, for example. And then like when you're using Google Chrome, it's the thing that's sitting on top of it. Sorry. So that's primarily what it is. So AI wrapper is the front end, but it is much more application based. And you must have heard of softwares like Lovable as well, which has just hit the news recently. They are the fastest company to have hit 100 million ARR, annual recurring revenue. And they have done it in just 8 months. It's faster than even the ChatGPT or anybody in the world. It's the fastest ever. And these are all coming under wrappers. So we will be discussing that. And of course, it's the Agentic AI that you might have heard around a lot. So this is more cutting edge. Instead of just answering questions, these systems actually completely and autonomously can plan, collaborate, execute multi-step projects. I'll show you a bit about the Perplexity Comet as well, which is an agentic AI tool. So I'll give you a quick idea on that. And essentially, the entire world is changing. So the era of virtual assistants, etc. So I'm born in the 70s. So the era of virtual agents, virtual assistants, etc. I think is pretty much over. So we'll jump into all of this, right? So let's start with Gen AI piece itself. It's also the foundational AI model in a slightly more technical term. So it's the obvious, the no-brainer that comes to mind around this is ChatGPT. And there's a point that you need to know that creating any of these foundational AI models is extremely expensive, complex, and is also very resource intensive. So it's trained on vast and varied data, which is why you probably have heard of the legal copyright issues, etc., that are happening across the world. But from a future relevance perspective, it's very critical for me to talk about the founding team And I'll come to it in more details as to why exactly, but it's very important in the AI space. So around ChatGPT or OpenAI, it was founded somewhere around December 2015. And although the actual ChatGPT offering launched only on November 30th, 22, pivotal date. But yeah, so after a year after that, what happened was Sam Altman, who's the founder of OpenAI, of course, was unceremoniously fired. And the reason was that they cited ethical concerns. So, and it's not just this, there were many other things also he has done. So for example, he wanted Scarlett Johansson's voice as the AI voice for ChatGPT. And although she had explicitly said that I do not want to be a part of it, he still went ahead and got a voice that was really, really similar to her. So of course it led to a legal lawsuit and things like that, but there are ethical concerns around this. And of course, Sam Altman again was reinstated a few days after that entire fiasco, mainly due to Microsoft's backing. And Microsoft are one of the biggest investors in OpenAI. They have close to $13 billion invested. And one of the reasons was that Microsoft was getting access to all the IPs of OpenAI all the way till 2030. So, but now what has happened is with the recent changes in, not getting into the specifics, but due to all the changes that are happening, now what's happening is that OpenAI is trying to even give Microsoft the boot. So, and they do not want them to get access to the softwares and IPs and so on. So the main reason again is that it's a very important point, and you need to be cautious because you have to realize that the power that these kind of AI tools are going to generate will be much more than what we think as today's privacy, right? So for us, privacy is, like the mobile app has access to our data and location, and people anyway are freaking out about that. So what will be happening soon, and I will show you in the agentic thing itself, the kind of controls that you need to give. So you will know that this is just a start. So AI is only going to go faster and faster. But coming back to ChatGPT and OpenAI, the biggest advantage that they have is primarily around the memory. So the memory is super important. And right now, they are probably one of the very few people who actually have it in the market. So they are able to save your past conversations. I'm not getting into too much into OpenAI or ChatGPT because I'm sure that most of you have already explored it. But I'll tell you where the functionality comes into play. So when I need to strategize anything around Brainbox, so it's primarily my go-to because all the inputs, etc., are already fed in. I can just go and say, okay, should we try this particular thing? If so, how do we do it? And it's more like a brainstorming partner. But yeah, that's perfectly what it's meant for. And then they launched something after a while called OpenAI Search. So the problem with OpenAI ChatGPT when they launched it was that they had a traditional cutoff date somewhere around 21 or January 22. So any data that you asked would have explored till then. Now what has happened is when they have started launching search, you can now access the latest data. But there's something that many people miss even today, which is that, for example, if you're going to say what is the weather in Bangalore today, then it's fine. They will still give you it'll go by default because it'll know that you're asking for it today. So it'll automatically activate the search option. It'll go there, activate it, and give you the result. What is interesting is, for example, if you ask what is the software pricing for any tool, let's say HubSpot, right? So what is the software pricing for HubSpot? If they have changed this pricing, it is not going to show you the current pricing. It will show you the earlier or the dated pricing till whatever date has been cut off. So if you are looking at something specific to now, remember that you have to press the search option on in ChatGPT, and that is when it will give you the most updated results. So this is something. Then of course, GPTs is something that comes in with the paid version of ChatGPT. It's a $20, which is the plus license. There also you get it. So that basically is a huge advantage when it comes to that. These can be completely customized, no coding required. And by the way, I am also highly non-technical. So it's absolutely excellent for generalists to come and start picking it up. But yeah, it allows users and businesses, to create AI tools completely. So for example, Canva has introduced GPT. Most of the B2B businesses have a GPT with it. So for example, if I want to access anything around Canva, I simply go to the ChatGPT or the GPT within ChatGPT, and you can search, so like Canva, etc., and you can simply create pictures on the fly. So you can write the thing and they will give you pictures. Now, this may not be the perfect use case for a $20 license, because now you can get it on stuff like Gemini and all that also. But again, so GPTs, I'm not getting into it, but yeah, it is a much more advanced kind of a feature. So DALL-E is, you must have heard of it. It's basically their image creating software. Pretty detailed, does a great job as well. This was actually supposed to work in conjunction with Sora, which you must have heard of. That was their video generation, created a huge buzz, but then slowly and now they've virtually disappeared. But yes, so even now they do have it. And what is happening is, with, let's say, a DALL-E or a Sora, is that you can create unbelievable images. Videos is not that strong even now, unless you are on the Sora, which again needs a $20 license. Now, that's about that. I'll quickly jump into Claude next, right? So I feel this is one of those AI tools which many people have heard of, but they don't use it to that extent. And I think it's a very, very worthy option to ChatGPT. So Anthropic is the company name, which owns the Claude, is this product. And Anthropic was launched in January 21 by 7 members who exited OpenAI. And the concern that they cited was OpenAI's approach to AI safety and its commercial focus. So again, we're coming back to things around the ethical piece of it. So Amazon has invested over $8 billion in Anthropic. They're one of the biggest investors. And the biggest advantage that you get with Claude is that it is programmed completely around ethics. So for example, if you ask Claude, how can I use this XYZ license, without paying for it? It's going to categorically tell you that it is illegal and we can't help you. They may say it in a nice way, but essentially that, right? But if you ask the same question with something like a ChatGPT, they will give you a workaround. So again, it's your choice as to which is your preference when it comes to the tool. But I should say that, as quoting Spider-Man here, with great power comes great responsibility. So this is something you should be careful about. Because at the end of the day, they will also have your data. So just the way that they have done with Microsoft, they could probably be doing it with your data tomorrow, and there's not much that you can do then. So even on the data privacy, as I mentioned, so the biggest advantage Claude again has is that they are not training any of their models. Like I mentioned, the entire GenAI is trained on models. They are not training it on any of your data. So even if you're on the free license, they are not training any of their models on your data, which means that your data is completely confidential. ChatGPT does use your data for this. Another thing is ChatGPT, the legal, Sam Altman just released it, I think, a few days back. So he said that in case you have any discussion around the legal or something of that sort, also with ChatGPT, it is can be admissible in the court of law. So there are terms and conditions. It will be the same even with Claude, but yes, they are not training it, so they may not have the data if you delete it. That's about it. A very big advantage of Claude is that if you are using it for processing long documents. So in technical term, it's something called tokens. ChatGPT's context window is close to 16,000 tokens, and Claude has close to 200,000. So which translates to about 500 pages. So again, as I mentioned, live cases. We did this just recently. We had to analyze so we're a PR company as well. So we had, one of our clients had about a 200-page crisis communication document that they had. And that entire manual had to be summarized. So we ran it in an emergency kind of a situation, and we summarized the whole thing to just a 5-page executive summary. And it was really, really good. So that is the level. So if you're looking at a huge amount of text or contextual data, relevance, anything, then Claude is an excellent solution for it. My personal favorite is Claude is also excellent when it comes to writing. I use it a lot. Again, some people in a team have different preferences. And I'll just show you. So the screen is visible, I hope, because I'll just show you one of the windows. Yes. So, correct. So now let's say I write, give me a 500 word write up on the autonomous industry, right? For example. So they were the first people who actually devised this entire split screen thing that you're seeing now, right? So the entire right side is what the actual result will be. And on the left is something that you can keep communicating with it. So it gives a 500 word document. So now I'm going to say that cite a few Uber cases in this. So if I run that, there. So it'll actually delete it and it's going to be putting in the whatever is the data in it. So you can see the actual deletions that are happening. So again, this is something that only these guys do it. Nobody else is there in this space who does it like this way. And in case you're a technical person, they have something called artifacts here from the left side. You can go in artifacts. This is all technical. So if you want, for example, something like a game or something of that sort, so you can use these artifacts and you can actually, use this entire thing and you can be able to connect this and therefore help in creating your own technical thing. But again, as I mentioned, I'm not a techie, so I don't use any of these. One second, come back. Yes. So this was on the artifacts front of it. Google Gemini. So I want to show you something else that has. So right now, I'm not sure if you guys are already using this. So when you go into Google in general, you're going to see this AI mode already here. So in the search bar, what happens in AI mode is it'll go just like this and the entire interface will change. So there are implications around SEO and stuff, which again, we're not getting into details today, but primarily what will happen is that you are going to be able to, so for example, you want to come Jaipur next week, similar to ChatGPT, it will give you the entire thing with everything. So use normal Google search if you're looking at something very, very specific, like what's 20 plus 20, then you can search for Google search, it's perfect. Anything else, you should be using AI search as the default in there. So AI search in Chrome. So what is happening is now Chrome is also being forced for them to shelve it off. So there is a lot of interaction on that. That is one of the reasons that Google is basically deep promoting or demoting Chrome, and they're pushing for the AI search. Email summaries and integration, Gemini is already integrated. So if you're using any of the Gmail accounts, it's already integrated with it. You would have already got around, devising an email and things like that. So all that stuff you can do it. One more thing I wanted to mention is that AI search also has AI overviews, right? So these have already reached 2 billion users. And Gemini itself has hit 450 million. And the AI mode specifically, that has surpassed 100 million users. So this is something very, very big. If you are not using, if you have been using Google, you should start using AI search, if not Gemini. Another pro tip here is that Gemini, if you're on the Google Workspace, of course, then Gemini becomes a no-brainer. But if you're on a Google Workspace, not on the third or the fourth highest tiers, but in the basic or the starter versions, they do not let you use AI or Gemini completely right? You cannot attach PDF documents and all that. You can do all that if you have a personal Gmail account. So in that case, they will let you upload PDFs, etc. So you might want to toy around and see whether you want to use a personal account or whether you want to use your official account. So that is something else. They have something now called gems. So you can basically connect the entire thing. So for example, if you want to, this is the kind of thing I had just done for yesterday. So you're currently, this is one of our like personal branding clients. So she basically is pursuing her MBA from Kellogg University, and she's worked with Deloitte for 2 years in audit. So she gives her entire background here. Now in GEMS, what you can also do is you can, let me just create a new gem only. Right. So out here, you can actually connect your data. So you give in all this stuff, and then you can put in the knowledge base. You can start uploading files. So this is what I was mentioning, that if you want to upload PDFs, etc., this will not be possible through the workplace account, which you can do with your personal account. Right. So again, you can do lots of things. So they give you options as well. You can just play around with Gemini. This is GEMS. So GEMS basically is the memory option of it. So you can basically save the data, and then you can ask follow-up questions based on that. Now, there is a big difference between the ChatGPT memory and Gemini GEMS. Gemini GEMS, what they do is they will have the data only specific to that conversation. So there is a certain, again, word limit they have, after which, so today if I'm discussing something with it, tomorrow if I type it, it will not have that memory. It will only have the memory that have originally set up as a part of the GEMS. So again, from a memory perspective, ChatGPT is way ahead. An interesting note, Claude is supposed to come out with their own memory very soon. It was planned for a July launch. It should be expected very soon. So it should be coming out in the next week or two. And again, from the ethical point I was telling you, so I think if Claude comes out with a good memory function, it's highly possible that we will be also moving to Claude completely. And you'll probably find a lot of people moving to Claude then. So again, if you haven't given Claude a try, you should try it. So this is the VO3 you must have heard, is basically their entire video piece. So it's the latest one. They have something called VO3 Fast, which they give along with the 2 terabyte usage for if a AI Pro plan, which is like a $1,900 plan. And if you want the full-fledged VO3, it's 12,500 or something per month. And a thing with VO3 people are not aware is that it is only generates clips up to 8 seconds. Another thing that many people don't know is that the kind of promotions and everything that you see outside is like, it's very easy. It's not that easy. So you have to probably iterate 6, 7, 8 times before you get a proper 8-second clip. So it is still in nascent stages. It will take its own time to pick up. But as of right now, it's not in a very great shape. Google Shopping, on the other hand, they have done a fantastic job. So what will happen is if you use the AI mode and you try and shop, you can simply go in there and you can put in your image, and then you can run clothes with it. So you can completely see how will a particular shirt, dress, whatever it is, look on you. There is something else called Search Generative Experience, SGE, that Google has been working on for quite a while. And what happens there is that you can essentially, so for example, I'm looking for a Louis Philippe shirt, right? And let's say I'm looking for the blue color. So I can search right now that where is the blue color shirt. If it'll tell me if something is available, I can shop for it right away. If it's not available, so they will actually tell me that I can set up an alert by which as soon as this blue color shirt in so and so size is available, and I can even set a price that it should not exceed this, they will send me an email. So then they will tell me that this thing is ready. Why don't you go and pick up the shirt? So this is something they are putting a lot of focus on, is shopping. And another reason for this is also that they have a huge database with YouTube. So YouTube currently is the world's second biggest search engine after Google itself. And what happens is YouTube is right now lacking in something which is a big breakthrough in China, especially. It's called live shopping. So they're able to show shopping, etc., completely live on the internet, and they're selling it. And many people are doing it. And about 30% of the entire e-commerce in China is now happening through live shopping. So this is something that YouTube is lacking, but that is what they're trying to integrate with Google Shopping, and they're going to be jumping. So in case you're a B2C kind of a brand, you should be aware that this is something that will come up. So you need to start setting things up on Google as well. So this is a quick summary between them. As I mentioned, it's obviously, I'm still coming back to the point of ethics, because it's really, really risky as to when they will have your data, what all they can do. So you should be careful on that front. Okay, so these are the other foundational business models. Meta Llama has to be my favorite. It's obviously Meta's. It's Llama with a double L. It's open source, efficient, highly adaptable. Again, it has, so what you see on WhatsApp as the, the blue circle running around is the basically Meta AI. It is all on Llama. The entire social media integration will be happening on this as well. So this is one platform which is again going to be doing very well. In fact, the smart glasses are also on the same platform. The second on a similar angle is on social media. So it's Grok, Elon Musk. XAI is the company that's actually running it. And this offers unmatched real-time data access. This is a very big advantage. They have tied up with 2 finance platforms already, Kalshi and Polymarket. And you have to keep in mind that these guys are expensive. So they are not in the space that they want to give off stuff free. Like Meta, of course, Meta have other ways to make money. But XAI is very categoric on this, but the performances are really, really good in the current benchmarks. Third is, again, a very common name you must have heard, the Chinese company DeepSeek. Very, very cost effective. It was, in fact, one of the reasons that when Sam Altman tried to raise money, he got into trouble because the kind of projections he gave was not working out. So DeepSeek is something that is, again, going to be a very, very close contender. Right now, what they're doing is many of them have already tied up. They're using DeepSeek at the back end. So it's more like a B2B. That's why they're not pushing on the front end that much. There's Amazon is launching Titan, which is going to be integrating with AWS completely natively. And they're going into a cloud first kind of company. So anybody who's looking at out of the box tools, any Amazon products or Titan. So the reason I'm giving you this entire, the next 6 of them is that I'm trying to highlight to you that there are many, many options. So the entire space is going to change, or rather keep evolving. So Microsoft also has one called 5.4. As I mentioned, Microsoft has invested 13 billion into Sam Altman, OpenAI. But yes, they are also launching their 5.4, but there's a difference. So all these GenAI models are basically LLMs, large language models. And this is a small language model, SLM. So the small language model is excellent when it goes for, like lower cost specific applications, a much more energy efficient kind of a solution. So usually LLMs run for billion to trillion parameters. SLMs usually go in million to maybe a few billion. Microsoft's 5.4, on the other hand, it's a 14 billion parameter in small language model. So which is really, really impressive. They have a lot of scope. And this is again going to be a model to watch out. Or Copilot currently is not connected with 5.4. And one of the reasons I've not touched on Copilot is that it's basically a Microsoft integration, right? So if you're already on Microsoft, you'd be using Copilot in a very high probability of that. But Copilot currently is on ChatGPT, but they are planning to integrate with 5.4 as well. So IBM also has launched something called Granite, stands out, compliance, privacy, domain, complete fine tuning. They're very, very transparent, open source as well. So if I'm ex-IBM, so I know about their ethics. And if there are many, many enterprises who will be, whoever are looking for trustworthy AI applications in regulated settings, GRCs, etc., Granite is the way to go. So this is an image that I created completely from Gemini. So I put it that I need this kind of a wrapper, etc. So this is an image that came out. Now, when I wanted to replace Perplexity and Lovable, the 2 names inside, with ChatGPT and Claude, I couldn't do it even after 5 tries. So this is something I'm just trying to highlight, that if you see this image and I say it's made from AI, you'll be impressed. But if I say you want to tweak anything, it's not that easy. So this is something you need to keep in mind. So anyway, coming back to Wrappers piece. So Lovable is basically, as I mentioned, they're the fastest company that has reached 100 million ARR in just 8 months. And that is something called vibe coding, which basically means that you can code with AI. The other option is people like me who are non-techies, we can also use it very easily. So this is where the wrapper piece comes in, and Perplexity, of course, is into the entire search function. So basically, Perplexity is an excellent option for search. So you can virtually do away with search altogether from Google, and you can just completely move to this. So let me show you. This is how the normal Perplexity Pro license works. As I mentioned, all of you should be having it by now. Here, there's one thing I want to show you. This is the normal search. Beside this is something called research. It was originally called deep research. So what this does is it's going to pull, so normal search will, okay, so if I just, any idea what do I search for? Let's just go with this only, whatever. So this is happening right now in deep research. So what is happening here is that this is going to pull the data from multiple sources. So in a normal search, it's going to give you a very quick answer. So it'll probably search through 7-8 resources and it'll give you a solution or the entire note. This one will take about 3 to 4 minutes is the deep research. And this will be then able to search with different sources and will give you that report after that. So it'll, and while this is setting up, let me just show you. So out here now, the next thing you also have here is called labs. So the labs is a much more detailed thing. So if you want a complete industry report, for example, then you can do this with that. So yesterday, for example, I just wanted to test it out. This is, it was just around cryptos to show you the difference. This is a normal report that came out like within a few minutes. When I put it, exactly the same command I put, and I said that I want to just do this. I did it through research. It searched 39 sources, and it gave me this result as to what all I should invest in Bitcoin, cryptos, etc. These are something that they again show. These are basically you can go back into each of these and check. So you'll be able to check exactly where the data is coming from. Again, something that Google is now beginning to launch and give it in their AI search, but not something that's commonly available. So this is, as I mentioned, is one of the biggest advantages of Perplexity. But this is how a normal search will look at, where they're looking at 39 sources. Of course, you still have steps. But now if you look at their labs, this is what came out. So they took out 78 sources. It took about 7 to 8 minutes, and then this is what came out. So when you're in this, you get assets. So you can, if you're technical, you can use, like Python and stuff. Not my cup of tea, but yeah, you can do this. You can also get charts. You can see the entire sources. Everything is out here. This is another example. Friend of mine yesterday, she asked me because her son needed a report. So this is one thing I want to specify is try and be as specific as possible. So this is what she had given, that this is the thing. So the first thing I asked her is that do you want it for India or global? So as soon as she said India, we made it specific for India. And it pulled 119 sources, and this is the result that came. So again, highly specialized. You can use each of these charts are downloadable. You can save it. You can use it for further use. So you can choose exactly what to use, everything. Now let's go back here. Yeah, so this is what the US tariffs thing. So they're going to give you these. Another advantage here is if you want any further questions on this, you can do that. If you want to rewrite, you can. If you want to share this as a link, you can. You want to put it as a PDF, possible. The work. So you can completely, and copy paste, of course, is there. So it virtually has everything under the sun that is there in this. The other thing I want to show you in Perplexity. Yeah, so this covers the search, research or deep research. So this is something that even ChatGPT has now got, the deep research piece. and you have labs. Now, let's go back here. So in here, they also have options. So if you want to make it academic, org files, all that stuff you can do. And you want to attach files, you can do that. If you're searching, the biggest advantage that Perplexity has is that you can choose your models. So Perplexity themselves have something called Sonar, which is their own Gen AI model. But suppose you want to use Claude on this, or a ChatGPT, or Gemini, they have many more. But suppose you want to use whichever one you want, you can actually search on it. So for example, if you are, like I mentioned, for writing, you use Claude. So you want to write something, I want to use Claude, I can do that. But if I'm talking about something else, I can go to a Gemini if it's much more technical. So you can play around with this kind of a data also in there. Perplexity also has audio. In ChatGPT, it is a paid one even today. But here in the Pro, which is again free for all practical purposes in India, so you can use this. This is broadly on what Perplexity is. You have something called Spaces. So they give you a few options as well, similar to this thing. So for example, let's say you want to create a new space. You can completely, so whatever. So if let's say you want to put it on EVs, for example, right? So you can actually connect files out here. So you can add instructions specific to this place, like what exactly is it, the client. So in our case, I'll tell you how we use it. So suppose we have a client, there's a client of ours who wants to do like a Zomato in the Eastern European market. So what we did is we actually integrated all the data, etc. out there. So whatever details, documents they give, so we download that and we upload it. So in the files also, whatever files they have can be integrated. It can integrate with Dropbox, whatever, the works. And once you can do that, you can also add in links. So you can put in the website links, you can put in the LinkedIn profiles, etc., etc. So you can connect all of that stuff. Another advantage you have here is that if you're searching, you can choose whether you want to open it for access to the general web, or you want to make it specific to the files only that you have shared. So if you don't want it to be hallucinating or giving you generic advice and specific to the instructions you've given or the files you've uploaded, it can do that as well. And the instructions, again, as always with AI, you need to be very, very specific that this is what I want. The more specific you are, the better it is. Broadly, this is it on Perplexity. Let me just check that I haven't missed anything. Fact-checking citations, research, spaces, labs. Now I want to quickly show you Comet. This is the Agentic AI browser that has come in. It's only right now available on the $500 licenses. But again, because of being a Perplexity fellow, we have got access. So I wanted to show you something. So for example, you are searching, let's say, right? So somebody is coming from the Bangalore airport, right? And they were going to Kempegowda, they're going to the Orion Mall for a trip. So this is going to be the destination. Now what happens is you go here. This is the Perplexity Comet, this thing. So you can add an assistant out here. So now you can say it very quickly that which are the places to sightsee around Orion Mall. It'll give you a list, hopefully fast. Great. So these are the kind of options you're going to see then and there. Now, for example, Bangalore Palace. Now I want to say that, okay, reroute it. So I cover it might take a little while, but you'll be able to see the thinking as well. So what they're going to do is they're going to actually reroute the entire thing. So for example, I can connect it with my calendar. It can connect, it will actually check what is my availability. So I can say things like, and you can see this blue screen that is blinking around it. So while that is blinking, they have taken control of this. So I'm not able to touch anything out here. So it is only on this movement that is happening now. And you can see that's why on its own, they have added a third destination. They're putting everything out here and they're adding it here. right? And they have rerouted it. So right now what is happening is it's going first to Orion Mall, and then it is going to Bangalore Palace. But now see the beauty of this. It's still thinking and saying that, okay, if I do this, it's not going to be working that well. So they will actually reroute it back. It will first go to Bangalore Palace, and then it will go to the Orion Mall. There you go. So this is the power of an agentic AI. So they will be able to tell you on their own what is the thing you should be doing. Of course, needless to say, for that you will have to give them access, and that is where I'm talking about the entire integrity and ethics discussion is coming up. But yes, so this is the kind of power that these agentic AI is going to bring, and this is already out. The Comet is already available right now. ChatGPT has also launched ChatGPT Agent. Pretty much similar. Microsoft's Copilot is also on similar lines. So all of this stuff, you can do it completely. You can have multiple cases on this. So I'm not sure if it's come to India as of now, but in the US, etc., you have the option that if you have an Amazon shopping cart, etc., you can just put in that I'm having, let's say, biryani. I want to cook for this, so place the order. So they will actually go there, give all the based on the ingredients, they'll place the entire menu, and they're going to say, okay, let's order it. So this is broadly what Comet is. Again, it's a huge topic, so we can keep going into it. But I'll quickly now, I'll quickly now sort of wrap up also. So essentially, there are 6 points here that I want to touch on. The first is data is the key. As you've seen everywhere, AI is going to be completely useless if you don't have the data. So you need to have as much data as possible. For this, ideally, you should use transcription. So for example, all our meetings are always recorded. So we always try and get out notes if possible. You can get the notes, upload it on AI, it will count towards it. And you can use multiple things, right? So Microsoft has it, Google, if you're using, you are on Gmeet, it has it. Standalone offers, you have Otter, Read, Sonics, endless number. We use Fathom for recording sessions. Of course, we use Descript, Squadcast, all that, because we need high-res videos. So quickly moving on the second one is also that now that you have a lot of data, you need to be careful with how would you organize it. So which is basically where, so like you can see in the image, the first guy is actually inputting the data. That's where the data is. And the second one is actually organizing it. So for that, you should use something like a Notion. It's like going to be a central command. So you should try and use that. Again, lots of options, but Airtable is there, but Notion is a very good one. They also have an AI option in there. So again, if you haven't used Notion, you should explore it and start seeing that. Third is that agentic AI is the future. I've already shown you what is available on Comet right now. And pretty much while agents are the future, the key is that you should diversify your AI tools, right? Because no single AI tool will actually handle everything. So for example, we use Google Workspace for the PR and personal branding agency. You're completely on Google for that. But Brainbox Gurukul, again, is completely on the Microsoft 365 platform. And that's just basically that I don't know what's going to happen. So I want to just hedge my bets, and I'm getting best of both the worlds. So in case, even with an AI, do not be only focused on one. Try to keep a similar chat maybe, and even copy paste it into another one, and then you can try and collate. Which brings me to a point that the biggest disadvantage of any single platforms, so let's say any of them, like ChatGPT, Claude, any of them, is that they will not be able to use best of both the worlds or all the worlds. So something like a Perplexity or a wrapper that will come in, that will be much more useful because they will be able to actually pull in the data across different models, etc. They can use it. And of course, finally, the AI landscape is changing phenomenally fast. It's not a year or even a month. So if you really want to stay ahead of the curve, you should be exploring it, and just completely feel free to actually experiment with things. And this is just the last piece. Basically, a one-man unicorn is something that is just a matter of time. There is a competition that is right now going on. Sam Altman, he's running a open, like a bet that is happening. And they are seeing that when will be that the billion-dollar company will be run by only one person. And the Claude CEO has predicted that this will happen as early as 2026. So this is something that is happening or will happen very soon. It'll be single people who will be running the show. So yeah, so basically it, of course, for this, we are doing something also called a AI sprint. And I'll share the details with you. So basically it's just going to be one-to-one sessions. So based on if you're a solopreneur or a entrepreneur, whatever it is, or even on personal branding. So we can help you, we'll give you the entire gamut, what all AI should you be doing, etc.